You walk into any electronic store, bright lights, rows of screens, all showing the same waterfall in 4K, and they all look good, too good. That's the problem, because when everything looks stunning under showroom lighting, how do you know what's real? How do you know what will still look good in your living room at 9 p.m. after the kids are asleep when you're finally sitting down? You don't. And that's intentional because in these spaces, confusion is profit. They don't sell you the best TV, they sell you the best illusion. Every year, homes get smarter, but the decisions, they get harder. We're told to care about quantum dots, local dimming zones, refresh rates, HDR standards. We're buried in numbers that sound important but feel impossible to compare. And somewhere in that flood of information, we forget the only question that actually matters. Will this thing make my Tuesday nights better? Will it be there when I need it without making me think too hard? That's what this is about. Not the brightest screen, not the thinnest bezel, but the TV that works for the life you're actually living. Today, we're looking at the best cheap 4K smart TVs of 2026. Not the ones that win awards, the ones that win in real homes. Under $400 for a 55-inch screen. No gimmicks, no sponsored hype, just honest options that won't drain your wallet or your patience. Because cheap doesn't have to mean compromised. It just means you're choosing wisely. Let's start with number 5, Hisense A6Q. This is the entry point, the humble beginning. It costs around $320 for the 55 in model, and for many people, that price alone is a yes. But here's what you actually get. A VA panel with direct LED backlighting. Not fancy, not groundbreaking, but real. It gives you a 4000.1 contrast ratio and around 300 nits of brightness. That means deep blacks when you turn off the lights and enough punch to watch during the day without squinting. It covers about 75% of the DCI-P3 color space, which isn't cinema grade, but it's more than enough for streaming your favorite shows. Dolby Vision, HDR10, and HLG support all included. So whether you're watching Netflix, Disney Plus, or something on a USB drive your friend gave you, this TV knows how to handle it. The OS is called Vidi. Not as popular as Google TV, sure, but it's fast, it's simple, and it has every app that matters. Netflix, YouTube, Prime, Disney Plus. No lag, no confusion. Just press a button and you're in. It runs on a quad-core processor with AI upscaling that tries to make lower resolution content look better. Does it turn 480p into 4K magic? No. But does it make old sitcoms watchable again? Yes. For ports, you get 3 HDMI inputs maxed at 60 Hz, 2 USB ports, optical audio out, headphone jack Ethernet, plus Bluetooth 5.0, and dual-band Wi-Fi. Nothing missing. Gaming. It's not a gaming beast, but it has a dedicated game mode with 16 millisecond input lag, which is solid for casual play. VR and auto low latency mode are both here. So, if you're playing on a Switch or a PS5 and performance mode, you're fine. Sound comes from two 10-watt speakers, Dolby Audio and DTS:X certified. They're not room-filling, but they're clear. Good enough for dialogue. Good enough for background music. If you want more, get a soundbar later. One small bonus, it has a light sensor. So, the screen adjusts its brightness based on the room, a feature you'd normally see on pre-tier sets. So, who is this TV for? The person buying their first big screen, the parent furnishing a playroom, the student moving into their first apartment. It's not trying to impress you, it's trying to work. And at $320, it does exactly that. Now, number 4, Xiaomi TV A Pro 2026. This is where things start to shift. Not in price, just $30 more, but in presence. Because the moment you see this TV, you feel the difference. Ultra-thin bezels, sleek metal finish. It looks more expensive than it is, and that matters. Not because you're showing off, but because the things we see every day shape how we feel in our own homes. This one uses a QLED panel. That's quantum dot technology, which means richer, more accurate color. It covers 94% of the DCI-P3 color space. That's a massive leap from the Hisense. Reds look red, greens feel alive, skin tones don't look washed out or orange. It's still a VA panel with direct LED backlighting, 300 nits brightness, and 500.1 contrast. But the color science, that's the upgrade. It supports HDR10 Plus and HLG. No Dolby Vision here, which is a miss, but it does have filmmaker mode, which respects the director's intent. No motion smoothing, no fake sharpening. Inside, you get a quad-core A55 chip with a Mali G52 GPU, 2 GB of RAM, 8 GB of storage, and here's the big one. It runs Google TV, the most complete, most intuitive smart platform right now. Voice control, personalized recommendations, CHcast built-in. You can control it with your phone, your voice, or the included Bluetooth remote with 360-degree microphone. Gaming is interesting here. Native refresh rate 60 Hz, but it has a game boost mode that pushes to 120 Hz at 1080p. It uses motion interpolation tech, which some people love and some people hate. If you play fast shooters competitively, skip this. But for FIFA, Forza, or indie platformers, it's smooth, it's fun. Auto low latency mode kicks in automatically. No VR though, which is unfortunate. Ports 3 HDMI 2 with ERC1 USB 2.0, Ethernet optical audio dual band Wi-Fi Bluetooth, 5.0 audio is two 10-watt speakers with Dolby Audio and DTS:X. Xiaomi tunes them with AI to adjust based on what you're watching. A drama gets dialogue clarity, an action scene gets bass boost. It's subtle, but it works. So, who should buy this? The person who streams everything, the one who wants a clean interface and doesn't want to think about settings, the viewer who notices color, who wants their shows to feel cinematic. Even on a budget at $350, the Xiaomi TV A Pro 2026 offers style, color, and simplicity. It's not flashy, it's just right. Number 3, TCL P7K. This is where the fight gets personal. Same price as the Xiaomi, around $360, but a different philosophy. TCL didn't go for the prettiest interface or the thinnest bezel. They went for performance. This TV uses an HVA panel with QLED technology. HVA means you get better viewing angles than a standard VA panel, but you keep that deep inky contrast. 5000 T1 contrast ratio again, but here's the difference. 450 nits of brightness. That's 50% brighter than the last two models, which means HDR actually pops. Highlights shine. Bright scenes don't flatten out, and it covers 93% of DCI-P3 right there with the Xiaomi. But it also supports Dolby Vision, HDR10 Plus, and HLG, all three major HDR formats. So no matter what you're watching, this screen speaks its language. TCL also adds AI picture processing, motion smoothing, contrast boosting, noise reduction. Some of it you'll use, some you'll turn off, but the control is there. Inside is an AIPQ processor with 2 GB of RAM and 16 GB of storage. It runs Google TV just like the Xiaomi. Same apps, same voice control, same ease of use. But here's where TCL pulls ahead, gaming. It has a native 60 Hz refresh rate, but a game accelerator mode that simulates 120 Hz. It supports VRR. It has auto low latency mode, and the input lag 10 milliseconds. That's excellent. Even for this price, that's impressive. You can game seriously on this. Not pro level, but better than most TVs twice the price a few years ago. Ports are solid. 3 HDMI, 1 USB 3.0, optical audio, Ethernet, Wi-Fi 5, Bluetooth 5.4. Now let's talk sound. This is huge. The P7K has a 2.1 speaker system, two 10-watt speakers, and a 20-watt subwoofer. You feel the difference immediately. Explosions have weight, music has depth, dialogue stays clear, but the low end fills the room. It supports Dolby Atmos and DTS. You still might want a soundbar eventually, but you won't need one right away. Who's this for? The gamer on a budget? The movie watcher who notices when the bass is missing? The person who wants flexibility without paying flagship prices? TCL P7K is a workhorse, bright, versatile, punchy. At $360, it might be the smartest pick on this list. Number 2, Philips 55P8200. Now we're at $400. And now we're talking about something different because this isn't just a TV. It's an experience. Philips Ambilight. If you've never seen it, here's what happens. The TV has LED strips on the back that react to what's on screen. A sunset fills your wall with orange and pink. A forest glows green around the edges. An explosion blooms red into the room. It's subtle. It's immersive. And once you've tried it, regular TVs feel flat. The design is clean, modern, minimal bezels, voice control built into the remote, but ambient light is the story here. The panel itself is a 4K LED with direct backlighting and 60 Hz refresh. Philips doesn't publish exact brightness or contrast specs, which is frustrating, but the color coverage hits 100% of sRGB, and the picture quality is right in line with what you'd expect at this price. It supports HDR terms HDR10 and HLG. The OS is Titan OS. It's fast, secure, customizable. All the major streaming apps are here. It works with Google Assistant, Alexa, and Apple AirPlay. And it's compatible with Matter, so it integrates with your smart home setup. Inside 8 GB of storage, enough for apps and cache. Gaming, casual grade, 60 Hz in native, virtual reality, and auto, low latency mode included. There's a dedicated game mode, but this isn't built for competitive play. Ports, 3 HDMI, 2 USB, optical audio, Ethernet, headphone jack, plus dual-band Wi-Fi and Bluetooth 5.2. Audio is 210-watt speakers with Dolby Atmos and DTS:X certification. Clean sound, nothing groundbreaking, but paired with Ambilight, the whole room feels alive. So who buys this? The person who watches TV at night. The one who wants the room to feel like a theater, not a screen on a wall. The viewer who values atmosphere as much as resolution. Philips Ambilight isn't for everyone, but for the right person, it's magic. And finally, number 1, LG QED84. This one costs around $440. Slightly over budget, but here's why it's worth it. LG QNED Evo technology. This combines quantum dots with nano-L filtering for color purity you just don't see in this price range. It hits 100% DCI-P3 coverage, perfect color, cinema-grade accuracy. The panel uses Edge LED backlighting with local dimming. Not as good as Mini LED, but better than standard Edge lit. Brightness is high. Contrast is controlled, HDR10 and HLG supported. Inside is LG's Alpha processor with real-time AI enhancement. It adjusts picture and sound on the fly based on what you're watching. Gaming tops out at 60 Hz, but you get VRR, auto, low latency mode, and a dedicated game optimizer. The Magic Remote is one of the best in the business. Point and click, scroll wheel, voice control. It makes navigation feel effortless. The OS, WebOS 25. LG promises 5 years of updates. That's longer support than most budget models ever get. Ports, 3 HDMI, 1 USB 2.0, Ethernet, optical audio, Wi-Fi 5, and Bluetooth 5.0. Sound is 210-watt speakers, Dolby Digital certified clear and balanced. This is the TV for someone who wants a brand they trust, who values long-term support and a polished experience, who's willing to spend $40 extra for color that doesn't compromise. LG QET84 is premium made accessible. So there they are. 5 TVS, 5 approaches from $320 to $440. Each one honest, each one useful. Because the best TV isn't the one with the most features. It's the one that disappears into your life and just works. Before you go, hit that subscribe button. We don't just review, we expose. From the hype to the hidden failures to the tricks brands hope you'll never question. So, hit like, tap subscribe, NextGen Picks, and join thousands of smart shoppers who already know smart spending starts with asking smarter questions.